Let's freaking go. Okay, so character development involves a choice. Temptation provides that opportunity. I was just reading that in the book, Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren, and I'm just, whew, that thought, and also his thought of when people say, oh, it's just a little sin. But saying, oh, it's just a little sin is like saying, oh, I'm just a little pregnant. At some point, that will show up later down the road. James talks about in his book, uh, when sin is conceived, it gives birth to, it will give birth, and the birth will be death. So be careful, be careful. But essentially, that's really to anchor the conversation of to say that character development happens in that moment of standstill where you can choose either to do the thing you know is right or do the thing that is whispering in your ear, like, why don't you try me? Why don't you just see what it's like? And man, is that a trip, because two things. One, when I was 14, me and my buddy made a pact to never touch drugs. Now I caved. I gave in. We went into senior year saying, "Hey, look, it's kind of like a cultural thing to drink, so I think we're probably gonna try it." And then second, standstill, standstill. I'll actually touch on that later. So I caved so hard because there was an internal desire. 4 Ds. Okay, so let's talk about it. 4 Ds. So desire, doubt, deception, disobedience. So the devil works only through desires that are already in you, desires that are natural and honestly, desires that you should have to feel loved, to feel engaged in life, to feel pleasure at times. And then he'll toss in doubt to make you doubt, like, oh, is it really that bad? Oh, um, it's okay. You can get right back up. Like, it's not going to be the end of the world. Deception of giving you lies or half truths of like, oh well, other people are doing it. Like, why don't you? It's only a little sin. No one will find out. No one will know. You know that audio. No one's gonna know a thing. And then there's the final act of disobedience. So, going into senior year of high school, there was that natural desire for me to want to fit in, to want to feel included in community, and to want to feel pleasure and loved, get in and intimacy, like getting to know people. Something I've grown up with is this scene around me of a handful of people I've been around in family are so warm and so good at connecting with people off the bat, strangers, talking to strangers. And I've always thought that was so cool. And I've always had a little knack for that. So those were natural desires that, well, when an opportunity arose and presented itself, I leaned into the whispers. I was like, all right, let's go. And I still remember that first party I went to in high school. I thought it was pretty lame. I thought it was pretty lame. And then I think the way I thought about it was, oh, it's lame because I need to drink. And then if I drink, then it'll be cool. Like, what? What? So I ended up going to college, getting deeper into the drinking, the smoking, trying, just having such an open mind for trying things. And it kept on repeating. Like keep on doing it, keep on doing it. And at a certain point where this thing was just to try it, started to become like an escape of reality, of pain, of worry, of stress, of like, what am I doing? Who am I becoming? I have those words to speak on those moments now, but I was fleeing from even having the opportunity of worrying about who I'm becoming, what am I doing. I take it you understand what I'm saying. And so back to the standstill point, I noticed that I'd have these moments of standstill. Truly, I still remember one time my room used to be in the basement of my old parents' house, but um, being down there, and I remember feeling as though life was going way too slow. And it was usually one of the two: either life was going way too slow, or life was going way too fast, and I was feeling out of control. So I felt like I had to do something about it. And now I had for so long just I would smoke. I would go drink, go out parties, whatever. But then after a few of those cycles, I caught it, and I was able to go, whoa, there's a choice here. I can either do what I have been doing or step into the unknown of looking to become who I actually want to become, because these actions are part of this character that I don't want to play anymore. I don't like this guy. He's doing things that he feels ashamed of, that he feels like he has to hide from the family. Um, and there's a lot of regret. A lot of regret. But I still chose it over and over and over and over again. I didn't have the courage to see what was on the other side of the unknown. But also because I've talked about this with friends before, there's such a gravitational force. The more people that believe in something, the more people that do something, there was a stronger pull toward whatever their cause is. I didn't have a strong enough base, sturdy foundation in faith, or even at the time myself, to be able to counter that. I wasn't trust. I had this voice telling me, like, no, you're made for more. You're built different. You don't have to keep doing these things. But I didn't trust that voice. And I love how this author, the same one, Rick Warren, for Purpose Driven Life, plays it out. He says, just like how roots grow stronger when the winds are blowing, your roots in Christ grow stronger when you stand against temptations. And I think that's like, all these points are so beautiful. A little sin is like being a little pregnant. Um, Character development involves a choice. Temptation provides that opportunity. And the roots, man, the roots grow deeper into your faith, into what's going on around you and God's plan when you stand up to that temptation. Because, man, the devil is so scared of who you are able to become, of who you're becoming, of your prayers. Because, man, the victory's already been won on that cross. Our Jesus took that for us. And the devil's schemes simply are to make us doubt, uh, make us doubt, make us think that we're still in the fight, that we can't win, delay, distract, have us procrastinate. Like, that's the thing. I really love Crew Mahoney's work, because Crew Mahoney really helps this guy. If you're listening to this, you've probably heard of that dude. If not, check his stuff out. He's so dope. His work is essentially helping you to create structure around trusting that voice that tells you to go after the thing you think is most worthwhile. Because, one, if you're a decent person, like I presume you are, what you're aiming for is something to deliver to the world to make it a better place. Now, that is worthwhile compared to you just working at a desk job, doing something you're not passionate about, just slave wage, giving your hours to perform somebody else's dream, which is just for profit. Like, what are most people out here in the world out for? Profit. The world is controlled by the devil. And there's that term, right? What does it profit a man who loses his soul? The world is looking to sell you things to make money, but also take your soul away. The drugs, alcohol, smoking, pornography, taking your soul, bro, cracking your soul, cracking your soul. And it's like, no, so we don't want to do that. So Crew Mahoney is like, create structure, create this proof, this data set of days that prove that you're the type of person who shows up on the day. You can only ever take on life one day at a time. The biggest bite you can take is one day at a time. So one day at a time, break it down. You can be excitable, you can be passionate, but you have to be responsible. Don't don't tear off more than you can chew. And so that's the idea here. Like, it parallels in my head very closely to the devil. It's like the devil can only do his best to convince you to delay, to procrastinate, to not believe in Christ and the powers that he gives you, to become everything that you truly can be. Somebody who is sharp mentally, who is fit, active in their life and who is putting in the work daily to impact others. And man, like I love this wave of influencers now that are putting posts out there saying like, yeah, I am an influencer. I want to influence you to eat good foods, to adventure, to trust in yourself, to bet on yourself, to spend time with family, to not go out hooking up, but to invest in one relationship that's headed toward marriage. And it's like, yeah, bro, that's what I'm looking to influence you on is living a life where you're sober so that you can enjoy all the gifts from God and know that they come from God. Live a life that's active, walking, running, biking, swimming, enjoying the gifts from God again. But also sharpening your mind to one, fight against the devil and his schemes, because well, he's always going to be trying to convince you that you're on the back foot, but you got to fight him back to say like, no, we've already won. But then also to be refining your craft, your gift. And I love this. Paul says to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. Now, if you look at the original Greek, it means something more like to work outwardly, which already been worked inwardly. An example. Ooh, excuse me. When you go to work out, you don't work out to get muscle. You work out to develop the muscle. Like God gave you your muscles. You're working out, physically exerting yourself to develop it and grow it. A farmer doesn't toil the land to receive land, but to prepare it for all the fruit that can come from it. God gave the land. God gave the soil. Same thing when given a puzzle, you have all the pieces, but you got to put them in the right spot to see the whole picture. That's how God works. And so man, you're not in a bad spot because you're tempted, because the world is putting all these temptations in front of you like, no, 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 man, that's your time to shine. That's your moment to say, I see you and I deny. I don't want that. Like me, like if you're like me, maybe you've fallen into that and you said yes so many times, but draw the line in the sand and say, not today. We're gonna break the pattern, start a new loop that keeps on looping around Christ and His truth and His love. Because man, we're gonna live such a fruitful life. So that's it for today. If you enjoy this, leave a like, a comment, hit subscribe because we're going to be talking about how to live a sober, fit, and Christ centered life. Catch you next time. Peace.